Take 532. Hello, welcome to another Tarot Tuesday. I am Cami, and today I think we're going to talk about fun ways of getting to know your deck. There are so many decks published today. So many. And some of them follow traditional symbolism and the traditional attributions as we see in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn or in the Ordo Templi Orientis and Crowley's work, or in, most famously, the Waite-Smith deck, which is sort of based on, mostly based on Golden Dawn tradition. A little different, but mostly based. And those are the two main flavors of deck, either the Waite-Smith flavor or the Crowley flavor. But nowadays, there are just so many decks that are based more in the personal philosophy and the personal spiritual evolution of the artist that creates it, that do not follow these traditional meanings, that it's become a little confusing and a little daunting getting started with tarot. And there are just so many views, and some of them conflict, and facts are mixed up, and like blah, 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 blah. It's just so wild. Which is why I think it's really important to get to know your deck as an individual. And so we're going to talk about some ways of getting to do that. Like I've said before, I think it's bullshit that you have to be given a deck. One of my primary examples of this, my best friend of 16 going on 17 years, I think, asked me to get her first tarot deck. And so I bought her a deck I thought she would like, and she didn't. And I think that opened a door that allowed her to go and buy the deck that did speak to her, which was the Line Strider Tarot. And she has since become one of the best tarot readers I know. She is really invested in the tarot, and she gives great readings. And is getting other people more and more interested in the tarot, and that's what we do. Once you get interested in the tarot and you become a tarotist, you start spreading the good vibes of the tarot. But if she hadn't gotten the deck that really called to her, that might not have happened. And so I think it's really, really important for you to just get the deck that you really, really like. And if you get the deck and you're like, oh, this isn't exactly what I thought it was, I'm not as into it, then find another deck. It's okay. It's okay. Like I've said before, I have a 20-gallon tote of tarot decks, and there are museums of tarot, and I'm sure that Stuart Kaplan, who owns US Game Systems, has every single deck ever printed. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure he has thousands of decks, and that's okay. But if you're just getting started, or even if you've been reading tarot and you just feel like you need to get to know your deck a little more intimately, these are a few methods for doing that. Okay, so the first method I want to show you is just interviewing your cards. So interview your new deck. And the interview questions that you can ask are like, what is the card that best represents your voice? What is the voice that I can expect coming from this deck? What is the card that best represents your perspective? What is the card that best represents your essential spirit? And let the individual deck tell you about itself. Go on a first date. Even take your deck out for coffee. Go to the coffee shop, or make yourself some coffee because we're still in sparkling isolation, and set it up. put like a little vase in the middle of the table, pour you and your deck a little cup of coffee, and get to know each other. I think that that's actually really fun. I've done that, and I think it's great. Another way that I've gotten to know my deck's individual personality is to take it out with me to like the mall or on a walk, and then we just kind of gossip. I'll ask it questions about like, what do you think about that girl's purse? And then it'll tell me like either this is immaterial and I don't care, or oh my god, look at her purse. Like you you can really start to gossip with your deck, and it will begin to develop its personality, or you'll begin to notice more and more about its personality anyway. Your relationship with its personality develops, and you can better understand what your deck is getting at the more you do that. So interview your deck and ask it about its spirit, its voice, its preferences. And maybe it's a deck that doesn't like reading for everybody. Maybe it's a deck that really likes reading about love. Maybe it's a deck that really likes reading about the future. It likes divination style readings. Maybe it's a deck that likes more spiritual development and offering advice on that. But you won't know that until you get to know the individual deck. Secondly, gossip with your tarot. Another way of getting to know your deck that is fun is to take out all of the court cards from your deck. So all of the pages, knights, kings, and queens, or whatever is equivalent in the deck that you have. And then you just shuffle them up. Shuffle the court cards independent from the rest of the deck. Then you're going to lay down 1, 2, 3 cards. Okay? So court cards can represent people or situations, or just general energy in a situation. And so what you're going to do is look at this card, the cards on the ends, as the people who are speed dating. What is the personality of the King of Pentacles reversed? And what is the personality of a Queen of Cups upright? Are they going to jive, and what are the reasons they might jive? A King of Pentacles reversed is someone who is feeling really overwhelmed, kind of bogged down. They're not feeling stable. They feel like they've kind of lost the foundation of their power. Their footing is loose. They can be a little depressed or a lot depressed. And the Queen of Cups is a very nurturing individual with emotions that are balanced. So they may not hit it off in a romantic way, but maybe this would be a good therapist-client relationship. And then the situation here, the energy during the date is the Queen of Pentacles upright. And that is a situation in which everything that all parties concerned, or a situation in which all parties concerned have what they need. That everyone is cared for, everything is nurtured, and it's a safe environment. So this situation between these two players is safe and good. So this would be actually a good spread. If it was 4 people, but we're just playing. This is just a way for you to get to know the court cards as personalities and a situation, so that your readings can flow more intuitively even when the court cards that can be a stumbling block for beginners pop up. And those are just a few ways that you can get to know your deck with a little bit more fun and pizzazz, and get to know your individual deck as an individual, because each deck really does have its own personality. And I think it's really important for us to kind of come to recognize our decks as friends and partners rather than possessions. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Please remember to like this video and to subscribe to the channel if you want to. A very big thank you to our current patrons, Kelsey Norris, Starship Occultus, Dellarosa, and Jeri Heileman. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us, because then we can provide these videos for you. Something that I wanted to mention today, I keep thanking Jeri Dellarosa. This is actually his work on my wall. So if you are interested in who Jeri Dellarosa is, that's some of his work. Thank you so much again for watching the video. I will include a link to my Patreon if that is something that calls to you. There is exclusive content on Patreon, like spells that I don't put on YouTube, and write-ups for herbs, and there's some extended symbolism videos on Patreon that won't be available on YouTube. So there's that. And as always, I will leave links to the websites of my jewelry providers in the comments below. So thank you so much. May we meet in the twilight. Have a wonderful day. All right.